KKP. We're at Sycamore Crossing. Sycamore Crossing in downtown Blue Ridge. I love it. Friday. Jesse Barton, the Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall, will not be with us this morning. She had prior commitment she had to make, but I call her North Georgia's Senior Concierge. So if you need anything, go to our playlist, fetchyournews.com, FYNTV, YouTube, and look up North Georgia Senior Living and meet Jesse Barton.
Jesse and I talked last week.
Yes.
We need to do a show from there. I know we've talked about that.
Done deal. I keep saying done deal.
I think that senior audience would be really, really fun to include and have a live audience and do a show from there one morning. And she was all
6 or 8 months ago we talked about that.
Yeah.
All right, already.
I know you got some.
I will
things,
get with my schedule.
You got some things on the boiler. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so besides the fact that Mattel's making gender-neutral dolls for our kids at Christmas, I just can't get past that. I think
Bruce, that's the deep state media. You trying to get a subject.
Oh.
He's distracting. Now.
Yes.
He's just throwing out.
I will tell you this.
Who cares about animals?
You could say impeach and impeach and impeach. They are
Toy animals.
You could say impeach and all these things, and they're going nuts. The real thing that scares me in this world is things like Mattel coming out with gender-neutral dolls for kids. It scares the daylights out of me. It does. This world, so he's not impeached. Does that make the world better? So he gets a second term. I'm a Donald Trump. I sat down, and I know I'm changing this up. My nephew is 15 years old. Outstanding kid. Just awesome guy. So I sit down with him at the kitchen table a couple weeks ago. I said, let's talk about some of the things that happened in high school. He said, and I get it. That's why Mattel is making dolls like this.
But when did they ever make anatomically correct dolls?
Can I finish? It's in all the papers, Bruce. But all these kids are in school. They are pushing our children. What's your pronoun?
Gender transition? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
They can pick what they want to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. I'm sorry. Scares
It's a subject that you can talk about for hours and never come to any happy conclusion. It's like a dog chasing its tail. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's true.
That'd be a male dog.
All right,
Anyway.
so anyhow. All right, what's your pronoun again?
I don't even know. Mine?
Yeah.
It.
All right, so McGuire yesterday, no, you said you wanted to go to, where was it again?
CrowdStrike.
CrowdStrike. Interesting. Wait a minute, let me guess.
Where did that
Let me
word come
see.
from?
Wait a minute, let me see and tell me everywhere I'm wrong, but like CrowdStrike,
DNC
security,
server.
DNC server. Hi, we're the FBI. We hear
We-
hear you guys.
Stop it.
What? Oh, hitting the table. Hi, we're the FBI, and we hear you guys may have been hacked on your. Don't worry, we got it.
Don't worry, we got it.
We've
We got
sent
a
it out to
private
California,
We got a private company by the name
and
of
we're getting this
CrowdStrike.
right.
Now, that was in the transcript, wasn't it? Was that word not in the
Yes,
transcript?
it was.
Was that word mentioned by anybody on the in the Democrat side? Why didn't it? Why are they?
No, it
why are
was.
they going?
It was, but it started with conspiracy. Trump's conspiracy. So it surfaced a couple times, but it was shot down in the same sentence.
For the viewership out there,
Right.
CrowdStrike is what?
CrowdStrike? CrowdStrike is a private vendor that comes in and they will look at your server and tell you if it's been hacked and who it's been hacked by. And they're the only ones that know about the DNC server. And the DNC is so scared to go into CrowdStrike and figure out who actually hacked because they
Huggy
want
Bear and Sugar Bear.
they
or something.
want that
I'm
Russian-
serious. If
they
you look
want-
it up, it's two. They found two hacks in there, but they don't want you to know where they actually came from.
exactly because they want to continue the narrative that the hacks came from the Russians.
Right, exactly.
They want to keep that. They want to keep that link, so they're constantly afraid of CrowdStrike, and I guarantee you that Trump did that on purpose. He doesn't do anything that doesn't have a long-reaching purpose in my mind.
So,
Okay.
so is there a guess as where this hacks really came from? China?
Ukraine.
Wait a minute.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. There's speculation that's pretty strong that a very wealthy person in Ukraine,
Would that be an oligarch?
an oligarch, a corrupt oligarch, has the server. There's three
Ooh.
servers, right?
Exactly.
Has server 3. That's
And
yeah.
CrowdStrike had nothing to do with the bleach bit thing with
No.
Hillary?
No.
Okay.
No.
No,
wanna
that
make
was
sure
that
that
was
link is
Hillary.
not
That was that other private contractor that they brought in
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
do the bleach bit. But I listened to Rush the other day, or I listen to him every day, and he was saying that Trump wants so badly to make his legacy such that he won this fair and square. He didn't need any help from the Russians. He didn't need anybody to hack anybody's server. So he wants to be able to go in and prove that it wasn't the Russians that hacked their server. And I don't think it was.
Not
Go ahead.
knowing what's going to happen between now and the election in 2020, do you have a feeling that if, just as we sit here today, I mean, if the election was held today, would Trump get more votes than he did last time?
Landslide.
I think so. I'm going to tell you, I think he wins states like New Mexico. I think he wins states like Minnesota. That is, he pull off. You have to look. Trump was pretty darn close for Minnesota last time. He was within striking distance. And go ahead.
Well, they sent some. They sent what's his name, Jones. He's on Fox. Good-looking black guy.
Oh, yeah.
They sent him up to Minnesota, and he went and spoke to people. People up there are sick and tired of Ilhan Omar and her carrying on.
Yeah.
And there is a massive backlash in Minnesota, whereby I agree with you. I think Trump is going to win Minnesota, and it's going to be monumental if that state goes red.
Rural America that came out and elected Trump the first time is going to double down with even bigger numbers of votes.
Bigger turnout?
Yes, absolutely bigger turnout.
Yeah, okay.
And you're going to say, how could that be? It will be. Rural America will come out stronger. And actually, that's what happened, and they didn't report it, but that's what happened in the 9th District in North Carolina that touched on Mecklenburg County and stuff like that.
Special election.
Right, is how he won was he overcame the suburban vote that supposedly is going to flip for the Democrats and is growing. He overcame that in the rural counties, and that vote grew. So it will continue to grow. And with Trump on the ticket, I have to say it like this. I think all in all, I see people post on Facebook that I don't call political. And they'll post something on Facebook and they'll say, have they ever said one nice word about this man? And they're not political people. I know they're not, but they jump in and say, what will he do tomorrow? I hear the one saying, they got one on there like, if Trump would cure cancer, it would, they wouldn't accept that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he wouldn't get the
Right.
tip of the hat at all.
so right now, there's a lot of time. Election, there's a lot of
Well,
space
I
between
said
now
that,
and
but
then.
I mean, 13
But
months.
right
here we
now,
are, we're calling it.
right now, the way I look at it is every single thing they bring up falls apart because I don't think. All right,
They only
So-
have to have one victory,
huh?
They only have to have one victory.
Only have to have one victory. You don't have a mic, or I'd ask you to go into detail. I don't know what one victory. I do understand.
The Dems need to have one victory to
Everything falls apart. They only need one.
I mean, it's like a terrorist. We block 100, but they only need one victory to make a point, and that's what I think Lonnie's saying.
All right, we could spend the rest of the morning you trying to explain that one to me. When it's just lost on me, it's lost on me. I get it, but I'll have to study
Well,
that
getting
later.
back to the hearing again, you always watch the opposition news and all that. I mean, I understand some of the things on there. It was
Bombshell,
Yeah.
bombshell, highly disturbing.
We've got him.
Matter of national security.
Yeah. Yeah.
How can he even stay? This parallels Nixon.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Blasey Ford all over again.
This morning,
Blasey Ford.
Joe, Minka, all of them are on there. I mean, the 5 major takeaways from yesterday, what we found out, the bombshells in the hearing. Read the headlines all over.
And of course, none of them talked about Schiff's parody.
Nothing is talked about.
Any means is
Okay.
possible.
So
I didn't get to read it this morning, but the lead story on the Fox website was something about the Russian president or the Ukraine president never even knew there can't be a quid pro quo
Yeah, he pushed back on that. He said,
because he didn't even know that the funds were being withheld
yeah.
till well after this whole thing happened.
Well,
That's
that
why
was-
it never came up in the conversation
yeah.
because he didn't know about it at that time.
Ukrainian official appears to cast doubt on quid pro quo
There you
claim whistleblower's account. Well, here's the thing. First of all, you realize when you listen to this, Trump withheld money. Wait a minute. So let's spin this the other way. So the President of the United States has made a decision that he's going to withhold our tax money from going around the world to these corrupt regimes or corrupt countries that just steal it. All right, Puerto Rico. We look at the heat he took over. It's a territory, but look at the heat he took over Puerto Rico, and he wasn't sending them their money, and he wasn't going to give them money. But at the end of the day, the Puerto Rican governor had to resign. It's that we do
The
know
mayor
how,
resigned.
Yeah, it's corrupt as can be, right?
And they found
And it's everything-
millions of liters of water sitting out in some
Absolutely.
airports.
It's
somewhere.
every piece of corruption, and Trump said, "I'm not sending the American people's money right now,"
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So all around the world, when he runs into something that says, "All right, corrupt," who's getting the money, who's stealing it out of the government, he kind of sits back, and I'm not saying this is what happened, and says, "Hey, let's look at this." And then on top of that, nobody is asking, when I say nobody, you and I, we are, but nobody is asking in the other media, why did he even bring Biden up? Why bring Biden up? Because the corruption that Biden and his son are involved in. Now, you look at the deal that Hunter Biden, is it Rosemont Capital? Okay.
Yes.
All right. You look at Rosemont Capital, look at Devin, I think it's Devin Asher. All right. John Kerry's in this.
Yeah,
Okay.
Asher was his son-in-law or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. This is deep. This is deep state, but this is deep. Kerry's in this,
Whitey Bulger's son.
right? They're all in this.
The question my wife asked is, why didn't the Republicans investigate any of this stuff 2-3 years ago when it was known then with Biden and his son? Why weren't there, their equivalent of intelligence committees like pounding on this 2-3 years ago?
Let me say this.
Answer me that, Riddler.
Now you talk about Ukraine. Let's move on to China.
China?
The billion, it's close to $1 billion that China put into Rosemont Capital.
1.5.
Right? The Bank of China, all right? They've never done that before.
Right.
Never. They have never done that before. China never did it. So Rosemont Capital goes out to New Mexico. You got to read all about it or something like that. And they set up a real estate office. In D.C. And supposedly, this is Biden. Kerry's are involved. Supposedly, they're going to be the real estate connection for China to buy real estate in America. The Bank of China, all right, $1.5 billion, right?
I think
Pretty
that's
good
his-
seed money.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Now, I'm telling you, these people are flat out, and the media is going nuts over a phone call. Now, if we can get that out to the people, hey, Ukraine, I mean, what about Obama sit back and let Russia go right into Crimea and take it, annex it? Right? I mean, right? Did that happen?
Tell Vlad I can be more flexible.
Right, but did that happen? Right? Whose watch was that on?
His.
And then you have the Russian
Whose
rebels.
watch was the DNC hack on?
But then you have the DNC rebels, right? I mean, not the DNC rebels. The Russian rebel, or Ukrainian Russian rebels that are fighting, right?
Right.
The Russian mercenaries that went into Ukraine.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't talk about any of that. But this supposed phone call is a matter of national security. I see we're running out of time. What did we not get into? What do you have on the list?
Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old.
Thank you. That's right.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Way to go. Oh, my God. Whoa. How dare you?
You've ruined my childhood.
You've ruined my... I should be in school.
How does the UN let a 16-year-old come and dictate policy to them?
You do know you started that with how does the UN?
Yeah, I know.
All right, it's the UN.
It's the UN.
It's the UN. It's what they do
Right?
badly. So, yeah.
That's just so sad.
I mean,
it
it
really
goes,
it's not maddening. It's sad.
it goes back to your indoctrination in the schools.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's a huge cornerstone of that, environmental degradation.
And they say this is organic baloney. This movement across the world is no more organic
You know what I say?
than that piece of broccoli I ate last night.
With only having 12 years, the people that are really nervous are long-term financial planners. But I mean, I could get you a nice retirement at 32. Because at 34 we're gone.
We're
You
done.
get 2 years, man.
In fact,
Paul Ehrlich in 1970 said, the seas are going to rise, the temperature's going to go up, within 20 years. That was 1970. And, every 5 or 10 years there's another ominous statement. We're all going to die.
I would recommend, and I know you got a lot of things on tap for this beautiful weekend, and some people don't sit around and spend this kind of time on certain things. I recommend the 45-minute press conference that Trump gave at the UN. I watched all 45 minutes, and I tell you what's sad is the accomplishments and how many meetings our government had with foreign delegations that there's no report on whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
he had to have a 45-minute press conference
To tell it all.
right, because it was not being reported.
None of it.
I think he met with at least 10 heads of state.
Yes, but did you
Japan was very successful.
Right, it's very successful with Japan, and also Boris Johnson, which they're trying to get rid of him, but he had some great meetings with the UK as far as trade, right? And
Yeah.
nothing reported.
He met with
Absolutely
Egypt.
nothing.
He met with, I think they met with Turkey.
Yeah.
El Salvador.
He met with Rhode Island. Oh, was that? I'm
Oh.
sorry. I just threw it in.
Jeez.
Is Rhode Island here? Bring him over. Okay.
Hopeless.
I'm laughing. I got a text from my friend in Florida.
All right. So, air balls, jump
home runs.
shots, home runs. We're up to home runs. What do you got
Home
today,
runs and air
Bruce?
balls. Home runs. Elizabeth Warren stopped at a lemonade stand in Iowa and bought some lemonade from these two little girls, and they are the parents are Trump supporters. So they said, well, since she's pro-choice, we're going to donate the lemonade money to a pro-life group. That's a home run. I got 2 air balls.
Ooh.
Good, because I don't have one. You got one mine.
Well,
Take credit for both.
okay, fine. And the one will be right in your wheelhouse.
Oh, good.
The Rashida Tlaib campaign.
Oh, boy.
Her re-election campaign?
Is he in a T-shirt?
Yeah. T-shirts out now. Impeach the MF.
Did you hear the chant?
No.
She had a rally, and she would yell "impeach," and the crowd would yell "MFer."
Really?
Okay.
Impeach the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The
I
oth-
think her son was there.
Her son was leading the chant.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's all he hears her mother ever say. But anyway, the other bad news is, or airball, if you will, is that after 71 years, WGN is not going to carry the Cubs baseball next season. The Cubs have formed a new network called Marquee, which is between them and Sinclair Broadcasting. But having grown up with WGN and seeing them lots of times with the Cubs and the Sox too, for that matter, that's
Just a tidbit. You know what WGN stands for? True.
world's greatest network.
World's greatest newspaper.
Excuse me.
They were owned by the Tribune.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's not get
Anyway,
anything
so
started. here.
that was a
See the back and forth.
It's Chicago talk.
it's a moment
Yeah,
of history.
we're-
I mean, WGN and the Cubs were like kind of synonymous.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
All right, Rick.
That was in my wheelhouse. My winner of the week. is Thomas Homan. Thomas
Okay.
Homan could be a winner every week. He's a private citizen now who used to be head of ICE, as you guys know.
Yeah.
He was in a hearing the other day, and the head of the hearing was, I hope I'm saying this correctly, Pramila Jayapal.
Yeah.
Pramila Jayapal. She
Indian
is from
descent.
Chennai, India, and she's head of this subcommittee or this committee. He absolutely blistered her, and the best thing I ever heard out of anybody's mouth was said, "You know what? You work for me. I'm a private citizen. You get paid by my tax dollars. You work for me." And she just went, didn't know what to do.
Really?
That was, yeah,
I do?
He was my winner of the week, Thomas
Very good.
Homan.
He's good.
Winner of the week.
We should get him on the show.
Boy,
I
he
like
gets riled up, doesn't
Oh,
he?
boy. Yeah.
Okay, folks. We have
Thomas,
our pet
you
of the
can
week.
sit right here, buddy. You're
We have,
watching.
we have our pet of the week coming up right after this from the Humane Society of Blue Ridge. Let me say a couple things. Friday night football, all right, with all the crazy impeachment and whistleblower and leaker and all that kind of stuff spinning around the world. We have get back to reality Friday night football. I'm going over to North Carolina tonight. We have a show over there on Thursday nights with J.R. Carroll and Scott Fletcher, two great guys, and that show's really taken off over there. But Andrews is playing Murphy, and both the guys invited me over, and they said they'd feed me. So that was a pretty good
Whoa,
part of the
whoa,
deal.
okay.
So I'm going over there tonight
set
to
the
watch
hook.
that game. But don't forget, region play happening now. Your fan and Rebels are off, but we have the classic rival of Gilmer Pickens tonight down at Gilmer. So, but I'm going over to Andrews and watch Murphy and Andrews play tonight. So, let me just say this. I watched the president's press conference. I read this week the phone call with the Ukrainian president. I watched, was that 4 hours yesterday, of testimony by a very honorable, what I found to be a very honorable man in this country, the DNI.
Lifelong public servant.
Absolutely. All right. DNI director, McGuire. And yesterday, I got home from last night. It's 10 o'clock. The world's crazy. I mean, it just is. So, you may say, well, you may call me a grown man. I don't know, whatever you want to call me. But you say, this is what you do. So last night, I go out on the side porch. I have a cheap cigar, obviously. It's 10:30 at night, going on 11. I really need to go to bed. But I said, you know what? I've watched this garbage. I've watched Nancy Pelosi say, that it's a matter of national. I was like, so what do I need to do before I go to bed? So I really enjoyed 1967. Just leave it like that, okay? I enjoyed 1967 because as a little guy, a little tyke or whatever you want to call me, I rushed right in there to sit down because I didn't care anything in the world. I just wanted to know if Speed Racer won the next race and if Pop Racer would be okay and if Chim Chim would come out of the trunk of that damn car. All right? That's all I want to know. I thought, there you go. So I'm going around YouTube. I watched an episode of Speed Racer last night. Sorry. I had to do it.
It'll calm your nerves.
Right, exactly.
Did you sleep well?
1967. And Chim Chim and Spritle made it through. And the little blades came out and they cut the trees out of the way and Speed won.
Nice.
Hey, folks, it's going to be okay. It really is.
Oh.
I'm trying. It's going to be okay. It's time for the Pet of the Week from the Humane Society. Thanks a lot. And before I go, I want to thank everybody that gets involved when I'm away, knowing what I have to do. And Rick, I want to tell the audience why I have you here. I really appreciate you very much. I send you my schedule over. You work yours out, and you handle this on Fridays, and thank you. I appreciate you very much.
You got it.
Okay. All right, let's go. It's time for the Star Pet of the Week right after this.